The suffering of the hostages released from Gaza is unthinkable. It is not anything we're even able to process, to think about the trauma, the abuse, the psychological trauma and abuse that these people have endured. And listen to what former hostage, Ellie Sharabi, had to share about his emotionally traumatic experience with Piers Morgan right here.
What was the moment that you realized they had been killed? How soon after your release?
Oh, the minute they passed the Red Cross, transfer me to the IDF on the border, social worker approached to me and told me that my mother and my sister are waiting for me in Reim camp. And I said to her, please bring me Lian, Noya, and Yahel. And she said that my mother and my sister will tell me. And of course, this is the moment I knew that the worst thing happened to me, that they've been murdered on October 7. It was like, 5-kilo hammer on my head. I cried. But then I remember that, after this cry and they tried to calm me down, I remember that where I'm getting the strength from, and it's always from my family. So I wanted to see my mother and my sister and hug them. And that's what happened.
I can't even imagine the roller coaster of emotions that you were going through. The joy and jubilation of finally being released, and then the devastation of discovering your wife and daughters had died. But then seeing other family members, your mother, your sister, it must have been just an extraordinarily tumultuous roller coaster for you.
It was a roller coaster of feelings, but it started 2 days before the release, that the Hamas commander announced me in the tunnel that my brother Yossi was kidnapped as well on October 7 and been killed 3 months after that he was kidnapped. And so it started already there. And I just waited to hug Noya and Yahel and Lian on the border. Imagine that. And then, with all this, like you think it's going to be your happiest day ever, the day that they transfer me to the IDF, and I'll feel safe again. And instead of that, they told me about my family, the loss of my family. But I'm a very practical man. I know I can't do anything to bring them back, and I need to, I can't let the grief to wrap me and bury me. I always look, for ways to move on, and I have to stay optimistic, and I want to rebuild my life, and that's what I, rely on. That maybe they see me, from heaven, and very proud of me.
Very, very inspirational words from Ellie Sharabi, who lost everything and still has the courage to rebuild all over again. Words that echo the biblical Noah in this week's Torah portion. Noah emerges from the flood after his world has been entirely destroyed, decimated, drowned in the raging waters of the flood. It's been submerged underwater for an entire year, and Noah emerges from the ark, doesn't fall into depression. He doesn't experience survivor's guilt. He knows that he is here to sustain the survivors. He's here to feed the animals. He's here to plant the new seeds. He's here to nurture a new generation. And in fact, to give birth to a new generation. Instead of looking backwards, Noah looks forwards. Whilst we cannot even imagine, can't even dream of the trauma and the pain, the anguish that these hostages have experienced, it is our hope and prayer that they find the strength to move on forward, to rebuild their shattered lives. And if you too have experienced trauma in your life, might not be as acute as those of the hostages in Gaza, but we too need to draw an inspirational lesson from them, that we cannot look backwards. We cannot allow our future to be defined by our past. We can only look forward with strength, with confidence, with trust, and with hope and with prayer, to be able to proceed to rebuild the world which was so evilly stolen from us. May the hostages find peace, and may survivors of all types of trauma and abuse find the strength that they need to rebuild a world that's stronger, bigger, better, brighter than the world they knew even before.